welcome into this week's edition of The Pole Position right here on Racing News Now. As always, I'm your host, Garth Allen. Thank you for joining me once again this week as we have numerous races to recap this week, as we always do here on Monday nights. So let's get right into it and talk about the NASCAR action from California, the Auto Club Speedway. Race number 5 on the Xfinity Series calendar. It was the 20th annual Roseanne 300 from the Auto Club Speedway. 150 laps, 300 miles. Joey Logano absolutely dominated. Dominated might be an understatement. Led 139 of the 150 laps in this one. Just, there's no touching Joey Logano. And almost once again picked Joey Logano. I know almost doesn't count in this, but I did mention on RNN Talks on Wednesday that I wanted to pick Joey Logano, and I should have just gone with my gut. I will remember that, and from now on, I'm going to listen to my guts on my picks, not necessarily who I think maybe should win or I'd like to see win. I'm just going to go with my gut, because obviously my gut seems to be picking better than me. Although Christopher Bell did have a good car on the day. He was our pick for this race. Didn't quite get the finish I think he deserved, but we'll get to him momentarily. Justin Allgaier ran a very strong race on Saturday, finishing in the second position. Teammate Elliott Sadler in third. Austin Dillon with a strong fourth place finish. And Daniel Hemrick rounded out the top 5. Rest of your top 10, Cole Custer, Tyler Reddick, Matt Tifft, Ryan Preece in his first start of the season, and Ross Chastain. Other notables down through the field, Spencer Gallagher in 11th, Ryan Truex in 12th. Ryan Reed, another middle-of-the-pack day for him. He comes home in the 17th position. Michael Annett in 18th. Christopher Bell, as we mentioned, did have a strong car on the day. 6th in the first stage, 3rd in the second stage. Then went for a slide through the grass in the final stage and came home in a disappointing 21st place finish. Still on the lead lap, though. So, I mean, there's something to say for that. Getting into a wreck and still finishing on the lead lap, but definitely was not competitive after that point, which was very disappointing to see, as he did have a very fast car. I don't know that he had one that really could compete with Joey. I don't know that anybody could have competed with Joey, but he definitely had a very fast car. And then also taken out in accidents throughout the day, Austin Cindric, yet another wreck in that 60 car for him, comes home in the 28th position. And John Hunter Nemechek, after finishing 7th in the first stage, comes home 3 laps off the pace in the 29th position. So that'll do it for our recap of the Roseanne 300. Let's head over to the Media Center and we will see what Mr. Logano had to say after his win in Saturday's Xfinity Series race. Let's take a look.
Oh, man, the car was really good. Total team effort, though. Yeah, I was talking to Wilson afterwards, and even my crew chief on the other side, Todd Gordon, and I said, man, if we don't win this race tomorrow, we really screwed something up. And it's one of those races and one of those cars that it's so good that you just hope that you don't screw something up and don't win the race when you have a car like that. And Pickard did an excellent job. Every time we came down pit road, we came out where we were. And we were able to have good strategy, good pit stops, and a quick car. So everything went as planned, and we were able to be here in victory lane. So it's nice when you have a car that's that dominant and you're able to win the race. It stings a lot when you don't win a race and your car's like that. So it's more of a relief than anything right now.
So let's take a look at the Xfinity Series points now, following 5 races on the season, and as we see, no changes at all in the top 5 in the standings. They all stay same positions that they were. Points differentials changing a bit, but staying where they are. Cole Custer is your biggest mover of the week, gaining 5 more spots. He had a couple rough races to start the season, so he had a hole to dig out of. Now I think Cole Custer back about where he should be in the standings, all the way up to 6th position. That drops Spencer Gallagher down 1 spot. Brandon Jones fell 2. Ryan Reed also fell 2 spots. Also jumping closer to the playoff picture. Not there yet, but just below the cut line now. Michael Annett jumped 2 spots, as well as Jeremy Clements jumping 2 spots this week. So that's your Xfinity Series points following the Roseanne 300. Now let's take a look at the results for the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series. They were in action, their 5th race of the season as well, the 22nd Annual Auto Club 400. 200 laps, 400 miles from the Auto Club Speedway. And your defending Cup Series champion, Martin Truex Jr., picks up his first win of the season in dominating fashion. Not quite as dominating as Joey Logano was on Saturday, but very, very strong. Started on the pole, led 125 of the 200 laps, won both stages, and was just crazy, crazy fast in yesterday's Auto Club 400. Our pick on the day, Kyle Larson. Fast car, came on more closer to the end of the race, but was in the top 10 for the majority of the day. He came home in the 2nd position. Another strong run for him on these 2-mile tracks. Kyle Busch came home in 3rd. He had a very spirited battle with Martin Truex there late in the going. Did lead 62 laps on the day. Brad Keselowski finished in 4th, and teammate Joey Logano rounded out the top 5. Team Penske bouncing back after a disappointing week last week in Phoenix. Rest of your top 10, Denny Hamlin, Eric Jones, Ryan Blaney, the 3rd Team Penske car. Jimmy Johnson improves on his best finish of the season in 9th, and Austin Dillon rounds out the top 10. Other notables, Clint Bowyer at 11th, Eric Almirola in 12th. Alex Bowman comes home in the 13th position. Another decently strong run for him. Another decent run for William Byron comes home in the 15th position. Disappointing day, though, for Chase Elliott. Only able to muster a 16th place finish. Kind of off all day. Never really was able to do much with his car yesterday. So not a very good finish for Mr. Elliott. Looking down through the rest of the field, Bubba Wallace comes home in the 20th position. And down through the rest of the field, Kevin Harvick with that incident early on. With easily his worst finish since Daytona. 35th was the result for Mr. Harvick, snapping his 3-race winless streak, and was not able to get 4 in a row and sweep the West Coast swing. Did have a fast car. I'm sure he would have been up there at the end. Not sure he really could have competed with Truex, as Truex was incredibly fast. But Harvick did have a fast car. The little bit we did get to see of it. Alright, so that's your results for the Auto Club 400. Now let's head back over to the Media Center. We'll see what defending champion Martin Truex Jr. had to say about his first win of the season.
Well, first off, it just feels good. Feels good to win. It's to get our first California win is unbelievable, and I feel like we've been getting better here the last couple of years, and just haven't been able to put it all together. So, for us to get our first win of the season today, it's definitely special to get it here. Finish off the West Coast swing with a win feels great, but I feel like we've been close all year long, and I kept telling people we were close, and they're like, well, you're not winning stages. And I'm like, well, we're right there. So the guys have done a great job on the team, and feel good about where we're at, and the consistency is there for sure. And today we were able to find just a great balanced car and one that had really good speed on the long runs, which is what it takes here. So just happy and proud of everybody on our team for doing a great job, and hopefully we can continue that.
All right, so we'll quickly take a look at the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series points before we wrap up tonight. Biggest change here is Martin Truex Jr. moving into the winner's side of the brackets. You'll see he is now second on the playoff grid behind Harvick with 3 wins, and above Dillon, who also has 1 win. As Truex, he and Dillon both have 1 win, but Truex has more points than Dillon. Truex now actually the overall points leader if you're just looking at points and not the actual playoff grid. So In terms of that bumps Kyle Busch down 1 spot as Truex moves into the winner's side. That bumps Kyle down to 4th. Keselowski jumped a couple spots this week, as well as that moves Blaney down 1 and Hamlin down 1. Eric Jones jumped a couple spots up to 13th, which bumped Ryan Newman and Paul Menard each down 1. And Alex Bowman works his way back into the playoff grid in 16th, as Chase Elliott, with his disappointing run, falls all the way down to 21st in points this week. So that's really all we got with points this week. Not a lot of moving, as we're now, again, 5 races into the season, so the points are starting to stabilize a little bit now, so I think we're going to see a lot less movement than we have in the past few weeks, which is normal. As we get further into the season, things stabilize a little bit. You might have a couple position swings for guys, but not the big radical swings we've been seeing for the most part in the first few weeks. So, at that, I believe that will do it tonight for us on the pole position. Thank you, as always, for joining me. It has been a pleasure, as always. If you aren't yet, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss a thing from Racing News Now. Like the video, it is much appreciated and does help us in the long run. And if you haven't already, please support us on Patreon. That is patreon.com/racingnewsnow if you want to continue to see quality content from Racing News Now and to just help us get better and better throughout the future. So with that, this has been the pole position where you always start on the front row. I am Garth Allen for Racing News Now.